Morning, guys. All right. You see, a lot of people are in all the other rooms, but in the for real, we're focused on doing the full job for the client. We want to make sure that we don't just see the client. We want to complete the whole job. And delivering the policy is not completing it, but it sure allows your client to see you one more time than not. So we want to talk about delivering it and the art of delivering it, making sure that you know all the points to hit. So this is going to be more technical training, less motivational. So take a lot of notes because you don't want to miss anything, okay? I am so excited because last night I was trying to rhyme, put a $600,000 verse out there, send it to, the record deals. I told Thomas, I was like, Shay and Jen at it again. I'm so excited this morning because, there's nobody else that is better to train with than Shay when it comes to delivering the policy and making sure we can share stories and really share the value of what our company does. So, now that I have some seniority in the company, I can share some of my stories too. But let's kick it off and let me know if, Shay, you can see my screen.
You're good. Got it.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So first and foremost, like always, let's talk about delivering the policy as far as the mentality. All right, so number one, our company does what's right 100% of the time. Write that down, guys. We were founded by a high school football coach and a teacher named Art Williams, whose father got taken advantage of, specifically in the life insurance area. And when his father passed away, his mother received $15,000, but for the same amount of premium they were paying, they could have had a policy that paid his mother $150,000. That's a big difference, isn't it, guys? So in the presentation, I always talk about that front end with the client because we want to make sure that the client knows to separate us from any other company. We're not a traditional company. Statistics say, if you guys read on POL, this is all on POL, we pay out an average of $3 million worth of claims each day, guys. So every 24 hours, our company is cutting checks worth $3 million, more or less, worth of death claims without any fighting, without any questions, nothing. We're not making it hard for any clients because why? How can we do that? Clients are going to ask you, well, that sounds like a lot of money. How are you guys able to do that? Well, first and foremost, we don't have any debt and we don't have any advertising fees either. How expensive are advertising? Millions of dollars. And how do you know all these other life insurance companies, financial companies? Because they advertise and stuff on radio, TV. Isn't that expensive? And so if you have to pay millions of dollars for an expense like that, you have to charge your clients more at the end of the day, right? And if I were anybody on this training, I would go to 60 Minutes, search not paid, and look at all the companies that got listed and slammed for refusing to pay out even when they knew their clients passed away. We are not listed on that list. During 9/11, we were one of 3 companies that paid out, guys. So these are statistics that you learn to kind of tell with the passion behind it, everything. Once you, of course, get acclimated much with your trainer, acclimated with QAs, and just used to hearing all these other stories. We deliver like no other company. We don't just send a check in the mail. We deliver a check in hand. So I'm gonna save my story to the end because we're not gonna just talk about standard policies, but also how to deliver rated policies. And I wanna have Shay share, a story about. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be about your mom, but there might be another story you want to share, Shay.
Sorry, I was muted. So yes, delivering a claim is I've had people pass away in my family. My grandmother passed before my mom passed away. My grandmother passed like 9 months before my mom passed away. And it was totally different. My grandmother had a whole life policy. It was just enough to bury her. And my grandmother passed away. She was 85 years old. Okay, so things were a little different as far as delivering the policy. Obviously, being whole life, there wasn't an agent at all. There was a check in the mail. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed with my mom's claim is, first and foremost, my husband was the one that did all the work for us. I did not have to do anything. I was able to simply mourn my mother and not worry about what was happening behind the scene with the claim. Think about that really fast, right? Because the first thing we think about when someone passes away is how are we going to financially take care of the responsibilities that comes with burying a loved one? But by the grace of God, thank God to Primerica, right? Which is why I'm so passionate. I love this company because without Primerica, without Shaquille Islam training T and Shay, my mother would not have been educated to move forward to apply for insurance. My mom was 65 years old, you all, and had no insurance at all. None, zero, right? Primerica, my mom had only had the policy for 6 months. Think about that. Primerica delivered that claim as fast as I can remember, right? Honestly, I don't even know if they investigated my mom's medical records. I'm being honest with you because that check came faster than I can remember. And we were able to do everything for my mom, right? The funeral home called Primerica. They approved everything that the funeral home needed to do, right? From the moment my mom was picked up from my home. Think about that. That's big. We didn't have to worry about anything, you all. My mom was able to be shipped to California because that's where we buried her, based off of Primerica. Primerica was able to make sure that everything was taken care of for my mom. So that's huge. And that's why, you know, I speak the way I speak about Primerica, because think about it. You all have a mom, right? Imagine your mom passing away and not being able to do anything because you don't have the money. My mom was divorced from my father at the time. So who does it fall on? It falls on the children. I'm the youngest of three. My sisters were thanking me. They still thank me to this day because they know people who have passed away, and they're very grateful at the fact that their younger sister was able to help our mother apply for insurance, and we were able to bury her, ship her to California, right? And have an amazing home going for my mom with no stress about anything. So a lot of the times when people say, I want to do my research, right? I want to check around, right? That is one of the things that we talk about. That is huge. All right. So I have a couple of other stories as well, but I'll tell those at the end. It's on you, Jen.
Great story, Shay. And me and Miss Caroline, we went on a QA in Michigan, and the couple were already Primerica clients. We didn't know that going in, but because Miss Caroline was practicing her presentation, we just went there for, stay there for 20 minutes. Doesn't hurt, to see if, anything else we can help them in. And at the end, Shay, they shared that when either her mom or her father passed away, and he had 2 other policies with the companies I won't mention, but he had those policies longer than he had Primerica's policy. And when they called, Primerica was the only one that paid out, no questions asked. All the other companies were giving her a hard time and asking her for extra records outside of the death certificate. And she just, the passion in the client's voice, I'm sure it really built Miss Caroline's belief. Not that she didn't believe anything, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to hear another story. And the way that the client said it, guys, I wouldn't be able to reiterate it, but it just feels so good that clients out there that have these personal stories, and we need to take these stories and put it in our bucket so that we can use it for later. That's so right. when we deliver a policy, we're delivering a strong, solid company that promises to pay. We may not be the cheapest, but we're not the most expensive either. The cheapest is never the best, and best is never the cheapest. However, we have to turn on our people skills and always build rapport first. So let's talk about when we figure out a client does get approved. So Shay, anytime you are not able to see my screen, because sometimes my iPad glitches a little bit with the presentation. If it glitches, just let me know.
I got you. We're good to go.
Okay. So when I figure out on Life Manager, on POL, when you go to your Life Manager, it tells you all the apps that have gotten accepted to home office that are now being processed. Once it says issued, you know that the client has gotten now approved for their coverage. This is a really big deal, guys. Again, we were one of 3 companies that paid out during 9/11. So we're not one of those companies that just say yes, just to say yes off the top. So this is what I say to my client. So when I call, let's say Shay, my client, ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Shay, it's Jen. How are you?
Hi, Jen. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Do you have a couple minutes to speak? I have really great news.
Oh, really? Absolutely.
Yeah, you ready to hear it?
Yes.
Awesome. So last time we met, you applied for life insurance to protect your income. Normally, 30% of our applicants do get declined because we are not one of those companies that make it easy for you to get approved and hard for your family to make a claim. during 9/11, if you remember me speaking about it, out of 200 plus companies that exist, more or less, in life insurance, we were one of 3 that paid out. So we really take our time. So I just wanted to call you and say that you got approved. That's applied for. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it's a huge deal. So I definitely want to go over your details again. That way you know exactly what benefits you have. So I'll see you sometime, okay?
All right, awesome.
Yeah, so that's how I calculate. We want to congratulate clients, guys. It is not a small thing. You don't want to call the client and be like, hey, you got approved. That's not fun. The client wants to feel like it is an honor to be able to get approved by our company, because it is an honor. We will pay out no matter what, 150% promise. We do not make it hard. So, copy and paste that conversation, say it like you mean it, right? Because it's a strong company. We are a strong company. So when you meet with a client and you deliver the policy, let's say it comes out standard. Standard meaning what? Standard meaning they got exactly what they applied for. Or maybe they just got normal rating. Okay, normal rating means, and their demographic, it's just normal, right? Normal health, height and weight. So you want to first review the face amount and the premium. Just reiterate what they applied for, what they got approved for. I would reiterate buy term invest the difference, because sometimes clients, they see, 25 years, and they start asking again what happens after 25 years, forgetting that we're going to do the full job for them and getting their Roth IRA set up, SEP IRA, whatever is appropriate for their financial situation. But after we talk about the face amount and the premium, what else do we want to highlight in the policy? There's a lot of pages. So remember, there are a couple of reasons why you want your client to be able to get all their questions answered up front before they even ask it. And number 2, you don't want any trash value agent coming behind you and going over things and trying to flip the script on, you, when you could have went through the policy yourself and helped your client understand how their policy works, instead of some trash value agent trying to, just twist some things around. Because we've had that happen with some of our clients, not me personally, but I've heard other agents have. So I put this in there for a reason. Number 1, I always gear towards annual premium savings. So let's say that somebody's monthly premium is $84 a month, and that's $1,000 a year of premium. I say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, another good news I have for you. I always say good news. Another good news I have for you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is if you pay this $84 a month, that's about $1,000 a year, right? But if you actually pay annually, you can save more money. And now instead of $1,000, it'll be whatever, $850, $900, whatever the number is at the bottom. And then the client, you'll see, they kind of get more excited. They say, oh, really? Wow. Right. So anytime you want to turn on the annual, especially during tax return time, let me know and I can help you go ahead and process that either online, over the phone with the company, or, I can come and do some paperwork for you. So just let me know when you're ready for that. So I highlight that. We also highlight the terminal illness benefit. This is really important, and be careful, because you got to know your numbers in your policy. The terminal illness benefit, we flip to the page in the terminal illness, and that pays out an accelerated death benefit out of the face amount, guys, up to 40% of the coverage. So let's say the coverage is 100,000. That means that out of 100,000, 40% is 40,000. I have to use a calculator for some of you guys, because some people don't know that, basic math, not making fun of anybody. However, this is really cool. And Mr. and Mrs. Client, that 40%, think about it. Hopefully you don't need that benefit, but sometimes the difference between living and dying is money, isn't it? But because you have a waiver of premium, that allows you to bump your terminal illness benefit to 70%. So instead of 40,000, you actually are entitled to up to 70,000 of your face amount up front if you are unfortunately terminally ill, and that includes COVID-19 too. So the waiver of premium alone allows us to waive your premium, Mr. and Mrs. Client, as long as you're disabled for 6 months or longer. And on top of that, we'll refund those 6 months or more, however you were paying, and we'll refund that back to you so you can help pay your bills or whatever you need to pay. We will waive the premium until you're back on your feet. That's pretty cool, right? Now, the child rider, if we want to talk about the child rider, you covered your children up to 25,000, whatever the client applied for. As far as the child rider, you can cover up to 9 kids, no questions asked, no special requests. So if you do consider having 9 kids, Shay, it won't change your premium. So I say it in a funny way because the client's like, it's a good thing, but the client, I just want to break the ice and make sure I have some fun with them. The client's always like, no, I don't want 9
That's
kids.
right. HE double hockey sticks now.
So, and then the last thing I want to go over, Shay, and I really want to be clear here, and I want you to understand, because next year you're going to receive a letter and you're going to think your premium increase just to increase, but I want to really make sure you understand this. So the increasing benefit rider is a Primerica specific rider that we offer to every single client on their policy. This will allow you to get an extra 10% of coverage for the next 10 years, meaning you have double the coverage in the next 10 years, Shay. So right now, let's say you have 100,000. That means if you keep the coverage increase for the full 10 years, you will have 200,000 of coverage, but the premium that goes up will only be based on your age today, not your age tomorrow. So we know you're 30 years old this year, right? You'll be 30 years old to us for literally the next 10 years. So when you get that letter in the mail, you may forget my conversation with you today, but remember, I'm going to say, remember, you forgot already. I told you would forget. The premium is not going up based on your age tomorrow. It's your age when you applied. And on the great thing, Shay, is that this increase they will still offer to you for those full 10 years, no matter your medical history. So if you applied and you got approved today, we will use your health as of today for the next 10 years. So even if, God forbid, you get uninsurable within the next 10 years, we will still allow you to keep that increase as long as you don't take it off. This is really great for people that, again, they unfortunately become uninsurable in between the next 10 years. You can opt out whenever you want to, but it is very optional. So you really have a year to think about it before they send you that letter to give you that option again, okay?
Awesome.
So it's not it's a guarantee you'll get it, but it's also optional for you to keep it. Sounds good?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. So you guys really want to be clear, because this is only Primerica, because it's only Primerica specific. Other agents will try to tell your client that this is an annually renewable term, which is completely false. It's fraudulent, and they lie to your client, making your client think that you sold them a policy that was annually renewable. It's not. It is literally, we have annual increases of the coverage. And the client doesn't have to worry about getting declined for any increases. So I'll share a story. One of my clients was 30 when she applied. She had just lost her job, and so she didn't have a strong income. So we applied for just $30 a month, right? Very small policy, and something was better than nothing. She agreed. Unfortunately, she had a heart condition that she had to get surgery for within the next 3 years. And after 3 years, she finally got a regular job. And so when she got that job, she asked me to help her manually increase her policy by an extra 100,000. When we did the increase, the manual increase, our company unfortunately declined her because now she was uninsurable. But because she never knocked off the IBR, think about this, guys, she will still have that extra 100,000. It may not be immediately, but it'll be over the next 10 years. No matter what, think about that. She got declined for a manual increase, but she'll still have what she wants no matter what, because she has an IBR and she never knocked it off. It's a pretty big deal. So that's the IBR. Now let's talk about rated. What if and I'll have Shay take over this because she has more experience with this. Rated policies are, and let's let the cat out the bag, a little bit scary when it's your first rated policy. Your client applies for, let's say, $100 a month policy, and it goes up to 150, 170, 200, whatever it is, comes out and it's out of their budget, or they're just not happy because it's said from our underwriting department, from their medical records, that they're not as healthy as they thought they were. It's not us, it's their medical records. But sometimes clients do take it out on you as the agent or the company, and you don't know how you should go about it. So when you deliver a rated policy, you still want to repeat the highlights on the last slide. You want to go over the benefits, assuming you can get past, the acceptance from the client taking the rated policy. You want to come with other options too. You don't want to just show up at the appointment without being prepared. You want to bring back another set of triplicate of choice, so that some of them are going to be under their budget, and so that they know that you still are working for them. You want to reiterate our value as far as our strength of our company, our promise to pay, and make sure that you sell the benefit of having you, not just as the agent, but their financial advisor, where you can help them in different areas. You're not just a life insurance agent that's going to wham, bam, thank you, man, them. You're going to promise to deliver. You're going to meet their emergency contacts. You're going to meet their beneficiary contacts. You're going to do the full job. So how do we have that dialogue with the client to deliver the rated policy? Go ahead, Shay.
All right, just a couple of things before I move on. Really, really great information that Jen Lee just went over. I hope you guys took a ton of notes, because everything that she went over is why Primerica is better, right? Those are the reasons why. And here's the thing, you have to continue to reiterate, all of the benefits with our policies, because they don't understand, they'll forget, and they'll call you when that IBR hits. Hey, my premium went up, and you have to reiterate it again and explain why it's a benefit, and it is optional, right? That's important. So that's really good. And you gotta be thorough, you all. All right, so let's talk about a rated policy. Now, this is the part, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that is not fun. And this is why. Sometimes, and I know some of you have gotten this, clients are not honest. So a policy will come back rated, and they'll act like they have no idea where this came from, how it happened, and where did you get this information from, right? So one of the things that I do when I take the application, I make sure that they know, listen, right? Primerica will find out. Our underwriting will find out before I go into those medical questions, because I've had that happen to me several times, and people don't tell you because it was 3-4 years ago and they think it's not going to come up, or they're better now. But you've got to go through this and get them to understand that they will find out. So you want to under promise and over deliver, right? Under promise, what do we mean by that? We mean like the process closed. Although we want it, doesn't mean we can get it. You have to apply for it just like a loan, right? So we want them to be on pins and needles that they may not even get approved. And if they do, we're going to over deliver. Yes, you got approved. Congratulations, just like Jen Lee said. So let's talk about what a rating is. This is important because most people don't even know what a rating is, okay? So it allows insurance company to take on additional risk into account when setting a policy premium, such as height and weight, right? I recently got one from a young woman. She's like 26, but her height and weight, she's overweight. And she said, I knew that would happen, right? So Primerica will rate you based off of your weight. If you're overweight, it doesn't mean you'll get denied. You possibly may get denied depending on how much overweight you are, but you may get rated, right? So they've taken on additional risk because you are not the standard rating. You are overweight, right? Diabetes. Some of us have clients that have diabetes. They take 1 pill, 2 pill insulin, right? They may get rated because of that. And I encourage you, when they tell you they take 2 and they have more than just diabetes, cholesterol, and all these, COD, cash on delivery, right? Do not take the premium up front. Do not. I encourage you. I've made that mistake for you all several times. Just do a COD if they get approved. I remember Rodney used to always tell us, if they get approved, great. If they don't, we just saved you. And she's absolutely right, right? So if you see something, and this has happened to me as well, you see a client and they're overweight and you know they're lying about their weight, COD, because you can't really put a pinpoint what it is, COD, because they're going to get rated. And they may have some underlying issues going on, right? Because they're overweight. What caused the rating? It could be weight. It could be, diabetes, cholesterol. They may have had cancer. They may have had, different things going on. That's important. And sometimes clients will tell you these things up front, but sometimes they won't. But that can cause a rating because our insurance company has taken on that additional risk. What caused the decline? I recently had a client who got declined immediately. And he didn't, young man, 32, 33 years old, he didn't disclose anything. So I had to call him and let him know that he was declined. And what he told me was, my father passed away last year and my doctor prescribed me mental issues medicine. And you didn't think that was important to tell me? He got declined, young man, right? So sometimes Primerica will immediately decline people. So we have to find out what caused that decline, because you want to call your client. You don't want to just leave it hanging in the air, right? You want to call them and see what we can do. What can this client do to get this rating down, at least back to standard? All right, I have a client who just recently done that. they got it back down to standard. They had a medical exam. We were able to provide medical records to show that this client is now standard, and we were able to get that rating back down. That's important. And the clients that really want the policy and they're really working on their health, they do not mind doing that. So you tell them, this is what we can do, Mr. and Mrs. Client. All right, you can go have a medical exam, a physical with your doctor, and we can provide those medical records to our underwriting department. Are you open to doing that? Right? This client was open. She's like, absolutely, I'm good. That's what we did. We were able to provide those medical records. They brought it back down to standard. That's huge. Right? So remember that you can always go back and do a reconsideration for underwriting to bring it back down to that standard rating. Discuss the possibility of getting the rate reduced, right? Which is what we just talked about. Reconsideration, get a letter from doctor showing height and weight. These things are very important, all right? In the next 90 days, not only will they reduce it, many times they will refund the excess premiums. Listen, you all, our company is stellar. We are a solid company, right? We've sat down with clients, we've dealt with other insurance companies. There is no company like Primerica. I've had family members who've passed away. I've dealt with other insurance companies. Nothing like Primerica, you all, nothing. We have gotten it down. This will motivate the client to get better health, right? That's motivating. You have those clients who do want to get that rating down and, you know, do better with their health, right? So we want to over deliver by helping them get that rating down. We can reduce the premium anytime. It's easier to reduce than increase the policy. Options keep as is, lower or even lower. So when a client gets rated, it comes with an amendment, and it also comes with another form to decrease the policy or increase it, right? So we can keep it as is with the rating. Some clients want to keep it because they know it was a blessing that they even got approved and the policy even got issued. So some clients want to keep it. We can lower it back to what they can comfortably fit into their budget, right? Or we can even go lower. The main thing, you all, is to keep it comfortably within their budget and make sure the client is covered. That is very, very important. So everything Jen Lee went over, when you deliver a rated policy, you want to reiterate all of those things. That is so important because we want them to understand, right? You got covered. So this is a blessing, right? Mute your phones for me, guys. This is a blessing. And the fact that you got covered, right? We want to keep this policy. So those things are important. On you, Jen.
Great job, Shay. That helped a lot. I just took a bunch of notes. So, and you guys, I'm here for years and I'm still taking notes over here. So, you know, if you're doing anything else, this is not the time to do it. So you guys want to make sure you're paying attention and taking notes, because as soon as this happens to you, then you're going to wish you would have been paying attention. So I just want to put that out there. But the next thing that you could run into, guys, when you're delivering a rated policy are objections. And you can run into objections at any time. But remember, objections are not bad. They're just a request for more information. That's it. The client, a lot of times, they just want to know that you're solid. You are solid. You believe in your company. You're going to be there. So you're not selling Primerica. You're selling yourself, right? So I'll share a story with one of my clients. And a lot of you guys, especially if you work directly with me, have heard this. Maybe if you heard me train on it. I had a client that him and his wife, they were divorcing 3 months after I met them. And that was October 2017. I'll go into more details about the story. So when they applied in July, their premium was around 180. When they came out, the husband his rating shot the policy premium up so much to 302 a month, Shay. And that was my first rated policy I have ever had. And the first rated policy, but it's 302 a month. I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to pay this if it was me, if I was a client. So I went and I don't want to say that I luckily closed it and had got them to take the policy. I really wanted them to, but I couldn't really see myself personally paying 302. So I told them, listen, this is my recommendation. And I kind of did a takeaway because the husband, during the initial appointment, he said, I'm good. I have life insurance. But he would refuse to show me the policy, Shay. So I never saw the policy. The wife had him apply with her. He got rated, shot the policy up. I come deliver the policy in person. And they were like, what, 302? You know, I could see it in their face. And I said, listen, my recommendation is, Mr. Client, if you are for sure that what you have is solid,